Not all stories are told through the spoken word. I'd like to share with you a story told through music that bridged generations. It's a personal story that was both spontaneous and incredibly moving. But first, a little backstory. Through my parents, I had met Dr. Stephen Strauss, a retired dentist and an incredible musician who now lives in the same senior community as my folks. In talking with Steve, I thought it would be really cool if he could someday meet my son Dan, who is also a very talented musician. All right, maybe you think I'm being a little bit biased about Dan, but I think my assessment of both of these men's talents will become obvious in the next few minutes. Anyway, back to the backstory. After initially meeting Steve, I was soon after arranging to have lunch with my folks and discovered that Dan, along with his wife Anna and my adorable grandson Gavin, were available to come with me. So I reached out to Steve to see if he and his wife Roberta could also join us for lunch so that he and Dan could meet, which they were. Now, lunch that day was great, but the real story is all about what happened after lunch. A spontaneous jam session between two musicians 50 years apart in age. We were fortunate that they let us watch, and as residents walked by or rode by, the audience grew. This story is a bridging of the generations. Steve joined in with music more familiar to Dan, such as Billy Joel. The Beatles. While Dan was able to join in playing My Funny Valentine, a Rodgers and Hart tune written in 1937 that reminded me of my grandparents and brought joy to so many of the seniors that were watching. Your life is full of stories. Make sure that you record and preserve yours. And if you need help in sharing your stories, just let us know.